Hey YouTube, what's going on? Today we're going to be looking at swapping out the optical drive on a mid-2012 MacBook Pro. This is the 13-inch model. And I've got another MacBook Pro which has some other issues right here. So I'm going to be taking the optical drive out of this and putting it in this one here. With that being said, basically what the user is experiencing, they put a disc, either a DVD or CD, into the optical drive. It tries to read it for like 30 seconds and then just spits it back out. I've seen this one other time, and I ended up replacing the optical drive, and that seemed to fix it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So I've got my toolkit right up here. So what we want to do, we want to get a small Phillips head. It's what are on these older MacBook Pros. Some of the models do have different screws. Is that not the right? Let's try a different deal here. Some of the models do have different screws, so you just kind of have to go according to whatever screws you have. So there's a total of 10 screws we take out. There's 4 along the bottom edge, 4 along the top edge, and then 2 on the sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then here, here, and then 4 along the top. Not all the screws are the same, by the way, so I kind of try to keep them organized. These screws on the side, this is a pretty good detail here, versus these screws on the bottom. You can see that the ones that come off the bottom have a little, the threads don't go all the way up, and the ones that come off the sides, they do. So just keep that kind of in mind. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the screws on the table in order from top to bottom on the Mac. That way I kind of just know what goes where. One of the screws on the top is different, but it's pretty easy because 3 of them are like this, they're long, and 1 of them is short, so that's pretty easy to figure out. So we're going to go ahead and take the rest of these screws out. I've got 2 more. Now, once we've taken that last screw out, the bottom cover should just come right off. Pretty simple. We've got hard drive, battery, motherboard, RAM, all that good stuff. What we're going to focus on is the optical drive, which is a little bit tricky to get out because you actually have to pull this whole the speaker and wireless card assembly off because there's another screw hidden underneath here. You don't actually have to take it out. I'm just going to take the screws loose and then kind of lay it back. But I do have to disconnect that from the motherboard. These are just normal like snap-on connectors. They should just pop right off. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the 3 of these right here. This one's for the hard drive, but we'll need to bend it back out of the way like this to get the optical drive out here in a minute. And then the middle one is the optical drive itself. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and take out this. So it's pretty easy. It pretty much comes right out with a couple of screws. There's one right here. Oh, it stuck to the speaker. Great. Then there are 2 here, one right above the other on either side of that ribbon cable there. Oh, the dust though. Then there are 2 screws up here you have to take out. Well, come on. There we go. And once those are loose, this should kind of just come up out of your way. Just enough to get to that other screw, which is right back here. So it's kind of hard to see. There's another screw right there. You have to take that loose to get to it. It's kind of annoying, but there it is. So take that screw out, and there's a screw forward here. And then there should be one more right back here, kind of where those ribbon cables connect to the motherboard. And if I can not lose the screw here. Once we've taken those out, then we should be able to, and this is the easier said than done part because there isn't a whole lot to grab onto, but we should be able to just lift the optical drive out. And there it is. So I'm assuming, my best guess is that this is bad. That's what I ran into last time. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull the optical drive out of the other Mac real quick. I'm not going to show you that because I just showed you how to do that basically on this one. And then I will show you the reverse process of how to put it back in. So let's get to it. Alright, so I got the optical drive out of the other Mac. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. So we're kind of just going to stick it in kind of the same way it came out pretty much. There is a cable on the back side that the the screw deal has to go under. This is a little bit harder to do because you kind of got to get your finger in there and pull the wire up until you can get that down far enough to go under it. And it's still on top. I'm going to actually use a little pry tool to pick that cable up out of my way. There we go. So now that cable is on top of the little bracket, and it's basically just this right here where the little screw hole is. That cable needs to go on top of that or it will throw off. The back end of the optical drive will be sticking up and we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the 3 screws that hold in the optical drive, starting with the one at the back. So this one here. And we'll put in the 2 front ones and put the wireless card and speaker back together. And then we should be ready to put the bottom cover back on and give it a test. See, this is fitting kind of weird. It's unusual. Alright, well, it's just being weird, I think. It's probably the angle I was trying to screw it in at. Alright, so now we can go ahead and put this back down. Where are my that's weird. It should be like that. I'm missing 2 screws apparently. Well, okay, no wait, no. These go here, right? Okay. So these screws, these long screws go in these 2 holes here up at the top. right up here, these two. So we're going to put those screws in first. Really doesn't matter what order you do these in, this is just the way I like to do it. The two little screws go on either side of the ribbon cable. I want to try not to pinch the ribbon cable though. And then this last one goes on the end down here next to the speaker. Alright, so that should be all of the screws on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect these ribbon cables to the motherboard. They're pretty easy, you just line them up and push down. You should feel it kind of snap in a little bit. And there you go. So now we're going to grab the bottom cover. Put it on, and then we're going to go ahead, I'm going to start with these long screws on the top edge. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the holes. Then we'll start putting the other screws in, starting with this one on this top corner. Again, it doesn't really matter what order you do these in, this is just the way I like to do it. Sometimes these bottom covers don't like to line up exactly perfectly, so this is the way I would recommend doing it, is starting, whether it be this corner or this corner, and then moving to the adjacent corner. So if you start up here, go to this one, you start up there, go to this one. I'm going to kind of shift it around and until it looks, this gap looks even, basically. Right there, that gap, as I bump the camera. That way I know it's going to line up good and all the screws are going to go in like they should. So at this point I can really put them in whatever order I want. I should be fine. I may have to hunt down a new screw. I think I have, I think one of my side screws got stuck on the display magnets. I may have knocked it off, so we'll see if we can find it though. Basically, there's some magnets in the body, and then there's magnets in the display bezel. And those basically hold the Macbook closed. Okay, I think I see it. That would be it on the floor. So we'll put in this last screw over here. No, that's not it. What the heck? That kind of looks like it. The head's bigger though. Okay, there's like a billion screws on this floor. Let me go see if I can find another screw to replace that with. I have a stash. Alright, so I went and got a spare screw out of my stash. So we can go ahead and put this in. And there we go. So the thing to do now is I gotta go find a disc that we can test this with. I think we should be good to go, though, at this point. I don't expect any problems. So I'm going to go see if I can find a CD or DVD, and we'll try this, and we'll see if it worked. Alright guys, so the machine's booted. We've got a CD. We're going to see what happens. See, this is what kind of happened before, to start with. You'd stick it in, you'd hear it reading the disc. And it actually worked that time. You guys can't see that, let me tilt this up some more. But audio CD, iTunes just popped up. Where before like a CD before iTunes would pop up, or a DVD before it would show up, or a DVD player would start. It would just immediately eject the disk. So this looks good. That's promising. So I think we've actually got this fixed. So that's awesome. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good day, and I will see you next video.